What's up, guys? It's Manga Time once again. I'm here to bring you my review of Bleach Volume 60, Everything But the Rain. Now, this is the latest volume to be released over here. We've still got. I'm really waiting for 61. That's the one I really want to get, but for that takes ages for some reason. It's not out till late August or something ridiculous. So we've got 60 with Misaki on the front, and it's a really nice cover, this one, because if you've noticed, with the final art, Kubo's got this new colour thing going on with the volume covers that just doesn't look that great, in my opinion. He basically, it's block colouring. Like if you haven't realised, like here's 56, which is Kurge. Look at that! How am I supposed to know what colour Kurge is? He's all red. So yeah, it's annoying, and I don't know why he's doing it. I mean, it looks kind of nice. Their spines, because they're all just individual colours. But you know, Misaki, she's got an ever so light blue tint, but you know, for the most part, she's her own colour. I kind of guess Kubo felt Ichigo's mum. She probably should. But yeah, it's actually a really nice cover as well. It's really detailed, and it's just obviously quite symbolic, considering Misaki's dead. Anyway, this is volume 60. And Kubo tells us to please read it on a rainy day if we can. Fair enough. And so, yeah, the poem page is just Misaki's eyes shut, which is probably a reference to the fact that she's dead, which is quite neat. And then the poem is, "You without sin are like the sun, you even with sin are like the sun." So it doesn't really mean a whole lot. I don't know what to make of that. Well, I mean, obviously you've got the sun and the moon, kind of symbology. Ichigo being the moon. And I think it's generally Rukia who's considered to be the sun, but I also think Misaki has sun symbology about her as well, so I presume it's interesting because the poem is usually from the character's perspective, but I would argue that that poem is possibly about Misaki rather than from her perspective, so yeah. But the the All-Stars, are Ishin, Misaki, Ryuken, Kisuke, and Ichigo. I think they probably could have put Katagiri on there as well, but I kind of feel like Kubo was going for it because the fact that there's a break there. I kind of feel like he wanted this generation and then the new generation. So that's kind of what I feel like he was doing there. So the chapters in this one are 531 to 540. So it's almost the entire Everything But the Rain. All you're missing is about 3 chapters at the beginning, I think. Maybe even 2. But essentially, we all know what Everything But the Rain's all about. It's the story of Misaki and Ishin, how they met, how Misaki died. You've got the standout chapter for me is 537, Prince von Lish, which is the one where Misaki gets killed by Grand Fisher. We find out it was all Yuharvok's fault. We find out that Uryu's joined Yuharvok. Great chapter, and a great way to finish Everything But the Rain. Unfortunately, this volume kind of drops it a little bit for me because I just don't think Everything But the Rain is as interesting as something like Turn Back the Pendulum. And I still think we need another flashback arc because there's just so much we're missing. And this arc told us a little bit, but I don't think it told us as much as people were hoping it would. So, yeah, I mean, Everything But the Rain, it's a good volume. It's a very solid volume. The artwork is okay. I don't know why. This is just me. But even with the upgraded tankobon quality, I feel like the art for Everything But the Rain was kind of lacking. It was very simplistic in areas. And it's just really weird, because when Kubo goes back to the present for about the last 3 chapters, I think it is, the artwork gets really good again. So it's just, I don't know whether he just kind of got bored with drawing the Everything But the Rain arc or something, I don't know. But, you know, regardless, the volume is really good. I don't know, because 59 wasn't great either. Well, not, you know, 59 was the weakest volume this arc so far. 60 is better than 59. Because you've got the awesome fight between Ishin and White. That's actually a really good fight. You know, rereading that, the choreography there is quite good, actually. There's quite a lot of back and forth. We get awesome exposure for Rengetsu. Obviously, Aizen's back. I think he came back in 59, actually, but he's, you know, he's scheming and everything. It's just cool to see these old faces again. And then when you come out of Everything But the Rain into the present, basically it's the Shinigami preparing for war. And a lot of, you know, it's kind of in reading this again in retrospect, like you see Toshiro, and a lot of it's just a bit annoying, really, because kind of a lot of it didn't go anywhere. Like, and this isn't the volume's fault. This is anything. This is well, it's Kubo's fault, and it's the fault of later volumes, if nothing else. But for instance, you've got one section where the 10th squad are training, and then Toshiro turns up and he's like, I've not got my Bankai, so I need to learn something new. And you know, this was kind of elaborated on with the whole thin ice thing when he was against Basby, but that got really thrown away very quickly just to bring back the Bankai. And the same thing again is Kensei, when he's training Hisagi, he's like, I didn't lose my Bankai this time, but next time I think it might happen. No, the Bankai stealing thing is completely sorted by the time Kensei even steps onto the battlefield. So it's a little bit disappointing in retrospect that a lot of this didn't go anywhere. This is very cool though, because this is the volume where we first get to meet Komamura's grandfather, and so that starts off the whole Komamura storyline. And just overall, it's a pretty solid volume. I'm going to drop an 8 on Everything But the Rain. Volume 60 volumes is pretty impressive. That's, you know, it's quite an achievement. 61 is the one I'm really looking forward to though. 61 is going to be fantastic. But that's, you know, that's kind of all I've got to say really. I think probably the chapter of the volume for me is 537, although it does get really good later on as well. 540, the last chapter, the volume ends with the revelation that Zangetsu is actually Yuhavok, which is a crazy revelation and a really good revelation to end the volume on. But though the actual chapter itself is kind of dull, because that's the one where we meet the Sword 5 and they just kind of spend the entire chapter doing nothing. But, you know, having said that, there is some fantastic artwork, and one of the things I really like about this volume, and kind of this part of Bleach itself, is that you get to see a couple of settings that are really quite different for the Bleach verse, at least, like Komamura in his cave, Oetsu's waterfall, you know, because at this point they're in the forging room, they're in the forging room, and there's all the water and everything, and it just looks really good, and Kubo makes good use of some of these settings. The artwork looks really nice. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to drop an 8 out of 10 on Volume 60, Everything But the Rain. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Volume 60, and let me just tell me what your favourite volume of this arc is so far. So that's 55 to 60. The Japanese are up to 63. 64 is coming out soon. Sources say that Gremmy is on the cover, which is awesome because, you know, more Sternritter covers. That's cool by me. So, yeah. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what you thought. As always, please click subscribe. That'd be really great. But until then, guys, see you on Wednesday.